for new YouTubers. Tip number one is don't get discouraged by the numbers. I know that's easier said than done, but when you're starting out as a YouTuber, the reality is that you're a rookie. You're not a loser. Think of YouTube like any other career, or even consider treating it like a sport. There's no reason for you to worry about putting points on the board when you're still learning how the game is played in the first place, and when frankly, the competition probably has been doing it for 5 or 10 years. You don't have to grow fast at the start. The most important thing is to start learning how to find your voice and find your audience and learn the rules of the game and the systems of YouTube. And you're gonna do that by just making more content and just taking your time. Just gonna have to trust the process. Tip number two is that gear does and does not matter, at least when you're getting started. It's easy to get overwhelmed by fancy camera gear, especially when you see a lot of us, full-time YouTubers who have really expensive setups, and we talk a lot about the importance of audio, video, and lighting. And while all of those things are very important to be able to produce very high-quality videos, the reality is that some of the most successful YouTubers of all time started with nothing more than a smartphone. In fact, I believe Mr. Beast actually started with a broken smartphone and got all the way to 200,000 subscribers with nothing more than that. If you're going to be thinking about gear, make sure you're improving the quality of your audio first with a good microphone, because being able to get through a video with bad audio is almost impossible. We can forgive subpar video quality, but not subpar audio quality. After audio, maybe consider doing something about lighting. This doesn't have to be super expensive. Outdoor lighting works for a lot of beginners. And then after that, you can worry about cameras and lenses and putting together a fancy backdrop. The best way to be consistent and to keep going when it comes to YouTube is to keep it as simple as possible. So don't stress out too much about gear if you're just getting started. Tip number three, quantity leads to quality. Just like any other creative endeavor, the reality is you have to just put in the reps. You have to go ahead and put in some repetition. Most people do not start out making high quality content. It's very rare. Not everyone has that gifted ability or talent. I certainly sucked on camera and just didn't know how to talk to a camera lens like it was a person when I got started. You could watch my earliest videos and see how bad I was at it. My advice is usually to make 100 crappy videos with the goal of becoming 1% better and learning from each of those videos as you go, and that will help you with growth, not in terms of views and subscribers, but growth in becoming somebody who can make quality content at some point. It took me 100 crappy videos to be able to find my voice and my confidence, learn to be a faster and better editor, and to really discover that I actually enjoy making videos probably more than I enjoy most things. So for a lot of us, we don't start out making quality content. In fact, Marques Brownlee, Mr. Beast, and PewDiePie all had to make 100 crappy videos, and in most cases, they didn't even get 1,000 subscribers out of it. Mr. Beast got like 700 subscribers out of it, Marques got like 78, and PewDiePie, I think, got like 2,500 subscribers out of their first 100 videos. So if you're struggling and you're not getting somewhere really, really fast, don't worry about it, because that's actually pretty normal. Tip number four, focus on one thing at a time. YouTube can be very overwhelming, and it also can be pretty lonely. A lot of people aren't going to understand what you're trying to do, and you probably won't initially have a lot of other friends who are content creators. So if you're trying to do this, I say you should take it one step at a time. You're not going to be perfect in everything all at once. You're not going to be able to do everything all at once and still do the things you have to do in your life if you have a full-time job or if you're a student. So the main thing is to just take this slow and just go at your own pace by focusing on getting better at one thing at a time. Focus is a really great way to move forward, but you should probably take it one thing at a time. Tip number five, experimenting versus niching down. Look, I'm a big fan of niche down, step up your content, and then blow up. Niche down, step up, blow up. I'm a big fan of that. I made an entire video dedicated to this concept. But that can be very challenging to do when you don't have any experience and you don't know what you want your content and your channel to be all about. And that's okay. I especially think that if you're very young and very creative, you want to do everything at once. That can be confusing to your audience, but you should still probably go ahead and do it within your first 100 crappy videos and get it out of your system. For one thing, you'll stumble onto the thing that is actually working for you and that you're actually good at if you don't know what that is. It lets you not feel stifled creatively and you can find your voice. And the thing is, once you start making a bunch of different videos, you'll find that you enjoy and like making some things more than others, and you won't feel bad about just getting rid of and ditching that other content to focus on what you like more and what the audience likes more. So niching down doesn't have to be this really tough crucible. It's not something you have to do before you get started. You have plenty of room and time to experiment. It's just not fair to expect an audience to commit to you while you're still figuring out who you are. So just keep that in mind. Tip number 6 is about how we make quality videos in the first place, because you might hear a bunch of big YouTubers telling you just make quality content, and they never tell you how to make quality content. So let's do that. First of all, a lot of people get confused between value and quality. In fact, it's not quality content that gets us to click on a video in the first place, because we have no idea what the quality is when we see a title and a thumbnail in YouTube. So what we're actually clicking on a video for, what gets you views on a video, is value. It's the perceived value that we are going to get as viewers when we start to watch something. So you have to fight for our click, and you do that by presenting us value. No matter how good the quality of something is, if I'm not interested in it, I'll never know, because I won't be able to click on that video. A lot of people, they have really great videos, well-made videos, that actually just end up getting unseen because they don't understand what their audience actually cares about. If you want to make quality videos, quality comes down to really 3 things. Good production values in terms of the visual quality, the audio quality, the lighting, those things are production quality. Then you have the quality of the performance. That's your ability to communicate your ideas and your delivery and performance on camera, things like your charisma. And then finally, there's the personality of the content creator or performer themselves. Do people connect to you? Do they relate to you? Do they respect you? So if you think about these 3 things, these are the experience that we have when we're watching somebody's content, and that experience that we're having is how we're going to rate the quality of a video. So just remember, value is what we're interested in and what gets our attention, what we want to see, and then quality is what we're actually seeing. It's about the viewer experience. And if you do that, that leads to subscribers and to building loyalty with an audience. Value gets you views, quality gets you subscribers. Then one day you get one of these. Speaking of quality, that actually leads us to today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by my friends over at Storyblocks. You might have noticed that I've actually been using a lot more stock footage to help me make my content just a little bit higher quality. So that means you don't have to sit here and be bored to tears when I talk to the camera for 20 minutes straight, because Storyblocks has over 1 million stock video assets, including 4K footage, After Effects templates, and even audio and sound effects they can use to take your videos to the next level. Sometimes I just don't have the ability to shoot the B-roll that I need, but with Storyblocks Unlimited Access Plan, I can always find the footage that's going to help me tell a better story. And Storyblocks is constantly updating their library of stock footage, and they also make sure that they are addressing inclusivity and diversity. You can sign up for the Unlimited Access Plan with my link in the description down below. Thanks again to Storyblocks for sponsoring this video. In fact, let's get back to that video. So now that you know how to make quality content, let's talk about being patient. Patience is something that's very important. The truth is that YouTube is hard. Don't let a lot of people trying to be humble convince you otherwise. It's very hard to learn how to be good on camera. It's very hard to learn how to edit a video, how to write a script. And it's very hard to keep doing this when you're getting started and you feel like nobody is watching. So you have to be crazy patient about the process of growing as a content creator. This is rarely overnight success for anybody. On average, it takes 3 to 5 years to start to get some real traction on YouTube. It's not abnormal for it to take that long for someone to just get to 10,000 subscribers, if they ever get there at all. 90% of content creators never get to 10,000 subscribers, and I'm convinced that it's because they quit before they ever get there because they're wildly impatient and they expect overnight success. Tip number 9 is to focus more on your titles and your thumbnails. Believe it or not, the title and thumbnail of a video has more to do with it getting views than the quality of the video itself. And you probably know this from firsthand experience as a viewer and consumer of content on YouTube. Regardless of what, you have to be convinced to click on a video. And the only way you get to make up your mind is the title and the thumbnail. You don't actually know how good the video is until you click on it. I think all of you should be spending a lot more time trying to craft a good thumbnail that will get someone's attention and get them to stop scrolling in their phone. That is your opportunity to get their attention. But your title has to also be relevant to them. So that's where things like knowing and focusing on a core audience and a type of subscriber actually can matter. I crafted the title and thumbnail for this video specifically to attract a new YouTuber. So I told you that this video was for you, and then I also showed you in the thumbnail why this video would actually help you. Tip number 10 is to be as consistent as you possibly can. Consistency can be very hard and it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I think it's important not only to be consistent in your upload frequency, but also consistent in your message and in the brand that you're building on YouTube. But again, that can be confusing for a lot of people. So what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes when you're talking about one thing and then you're talking about another and there's no connection between the two, that's inconsistent and confusing to a viewer, and it's hard to ask someone for a commitment to someone who's inconsistent all the time. The same thing for taking huge, long breaks between uploads. That's also very difficult. In order to get my first 10,000 subscribers, I had to upload weekly videos and mostly about the same thing for about a year, and that's how I got my first 10,000 subscribers on YouTube in just under a year, about 11 months in 2013. Because I was extra consistent and I also increased the frequency of my uploads, it meant that by 2016, I was able to grow to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Now, I'm not promising you that making 500 or 600 videos in like 3 years is going to get you a silver play button. That is not what I'm trying to tell you. What I am trying to tell you is that consistency is one of the foundations of success in anything you do, whether it's YouTube, business, sports, relationships. Consistency is an important part of life. It's going to be an important part of your career as a content creator. Tip number 11 is that making money on YouTube goes painfully slow. In fact, I didn't make much money from AdSense revenue directly from YouTube those first 3 years, which I'll make a video about that in the future. I do very well now here on YouTube, but that's something that took a long time. If I was relying on that, though, I wouldn't have been able to survive. So if you are thinking about doing YouTube, you have to understand that when you're just getting started, you probably need your money to come from somewhere else, whether it's a full-time or part-time job, or if it's being a full-time freelancer like I was, you need something else to supplement your income until YouTube is successful. But even if it is, just remember that months go up and down on YouTube with regard to views and with regard to ad revenue, and it's not something you have a lot of control over, like the amount of hours that you're working. And AdSense revenue isn't always the best idea in terms of relying on it. Tip number 12, build a system for your success. When it comes to YouTube, there's a lot of things that you have to think about. You have to think about video editing, you have to think about filming, you have to think about scheduling time to do all of this, and you have to make it right size in your life. You have to make it fit your lifestyle. Some of you are already working a full-time job, you might have a family, some of you might be in school, you might be juggling a lot. It's going to be impossible to build long-term success or even get short-term gains in YouTube without building some kind of system and some kind of set of routines to help you get your work done. So start thinking about how you can be more efficient. Start thinking about ways to plan out your filming and editing days. I actually made an entire video about what allows me to be consistent with my YouTube videos, or what will help me be more consistent. And you have to just account for the fact that you also will have days where you're low energy, and that may not be a good time to film. So you have to think about things like having videos you filmed in batch recordings in advance that you can just schedule and release. If you ever have a day when you're not feeling it, this is going to really help you long term as a content creator. Tip number 13, Edit out anything that's not essential. No one likes fluff. Cut the fluff. If it's not something that is educating your audience or exciting your audience and entertaining them, you don't really need it to be part of the video. Don't make a video a minute longer than it needs to be. Just cut anything that's non-essential. Tip number 14, do not take shortcuts when it comes to YouTube or anything else in life. Look, you could be tempted to try to do things like buying views and subscribers, or doing sub for sub, or trying to be part of communities that try to create engagement pods for YouTube. And all of those things are terrible ideas. And if you try to take these shortcuts, number one, you won't ever feel like you earned your own success. And number two, it can disqualify you from being part of the YouTube Partner Program and ever monetizing your channel. Or if you're wildly successful, it could disqualify you from getting your YouTube Creator Award. You don't want to get to 100,000 subscribers and then not get this silver play button after getting 100,000 subscribers because you cheated to get maybe 1,000 or 2,000 of them to stop feeling less insecure about yourself and make content. Just have the confidence to believe in the content you're making and your own growth, and it's okay to grow slow. You do not have to be an overnight success. The truth is, they don't really exist. And finally, tip number 15, just get started. Every single year, there will be somebody who says that it is too late to be successful on YouTube. Every year, someone will say it's too saturated, that you can't do YouTube gaming, that you can't be a vlogger anymore, that tech YouTube is too saturated. There will always be an excuse, and there will always be people executing and proving them wrong. You just have to decide who you're going to be. Are you going to be somebody who makes excuses? Or are you going to be somebody who is a success story that we find out about 3 or 5 years after you decided to grind? I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be a hard and challenging road sometimes, and you're not always going to want to do it. But it's absolutely worth it if you stick to it in the end and if you're enjoying the process along the way. So just make it as fun and make it as interesting as you possibly can by just being yourself. I mean, it's not like I had the personality to be a YouTuber. Go watch my early videos. They were horrible. And here I am today with over 500,000 subscribers. If I can pull that off with my personality and all of my flaws, then you're probably going to be all right. There's also very little chance that your first 100 crappy videos are as bad as mine. Question of the day, which tip did you find most helpful today? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks again to my friends at Storyblocks for sponsoring this video. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you're watching the playlist in the description down below on how to grow as a new YouTuber. Also, I know that most of you probably have under 1,000 subscribers, so make sure you're watching my video on how to get your first 1,000 subscribers, and I have another video on how to get your first 4,000 hours of watch time. All of that will be linked in the description down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Take care. Grab your handy dandy notebook because this is the video you've all been waiting for. I'm going to tell you how to niche down, and more importantly, I'm going to tell you how to do it properly. I'm going to answer all the things you want to know about niching down. I'm actually going to tell you how to find your niche. I'm going to answer the question, does having a niche give you an advantage and affect the YouTube algorithm? I'm going to tell you how to niche down without losing your voice and without feeling trapped. I'm also going to tell you a few of the most profitable niches that there are, because I know that's really important for a lot of you. And then finally, I'm going to tell you how to stand out in a competitive or saturated niche. All right, so if you're into that, let's jump into the video. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to tell you how to niche down and how to do it the right way without getting stuck, trapped, or losing your voice. Now, funny story about my channel. I've actually had an evolution of the channel over the last 7 years, and I have spent those years trying to figure out what it is I want to do and what my place was. And eventually I figured out that it was combining a few of the things that I love and actually building and carving out my own space. I am really passionate about the idea of creative people finding their way in the world and managing to do it without being starving artists. So if you've noticed that this YouTube channel covers a lot of topics and that's not a YouTube tips channel, it's because I believe that creative people can and should become entrepreneurs and should be able to create on their own terms, make money doing it, and not become starving artists. And that was the entire point of this channel. And so I went into the niche of entrepreneurship, but I narrowed it down and I specialized in a specific type of entrepreneur and entrepreneurship, and that is creative entrepreneurship. Is the idea that you can take your creative abilities and talents and you could use those things and monetize them, and that you can be in charge. And so that's what I use the channel to teach people how to do. Now, there are 3 ways that I approach it. I teach people skills so that they can create something worthwhile that they can make money at. I teach them how to market themselves effectively, and then I teach them how to monetize. So we make, we market, we monetize. And so when it comes to, well, what is my niche? That's what it is. And it's a little challenging and difficult to communicate that sometimes. And I think that is the biggest barrier for a lot of you. You struggle to find your voice. Let's help you with that. Finding your niche is finding the place where you fit best and where you excel. Guess what? It's also the place where you want to fit, where you want to fit in. I kind of relate this to finding the lunch table that you want to sit at school. I think everybody has had that experience in that moment, and it says a lot, because it's not just about what you want to experience and talk about, but it's also about who do you want to be around? Who do you want to surround yourself with? Who do you want to be your friends and your peers? What community do you want to belong to? And so there are 3 questions I usually ask people that help them find their niche. I ask them, what are they really excited and passionate about? What are they good at? And then also, who do they want to be around? What is the community that they would like to build? Who is it they want to make their content for? And so what I do is I try to get people to write down what they're excited about and what they're good at, and try to find something that matches. Find something that they are passionate about, that they also feel good about and confident in, that they can deliver for, and then, well, figure out who cares about those things, who also likes those things, who would get value and benefit from those. And that is your ideal audience. That is your target audience, and that is how I think you find your niche. I think you have to find an area where you fit, that you can specialize in. Now, what a lot of you will do is you'll say something like, well, gaming, but that's broad. That's not a niche as much as it's a market. Gaming is a market vertical. It's not a niche, okay? It's not specific enough. But you know what is a niche? FPS gaming is a niche. RPGs are a niche, okay? Fighting games are a niche. That would be how you narrow and how you focus. Then you have to find a way to stand out within that niche, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, what about these big YouTubers that don't seem to have a niche? Well, something that small YouTubers do is they obsess about exceptions instead of figuring out the rules. And I mean, I know that sounds harsh, but it is the truth. A lot of you will throw up your favorite YouTuber, whether it's Mr. Beast, or whether it's Kelly Stamps, or whether it's somebody that is deviating a little bit from the norm. And while that's a big part of what YouTube is about, it's also why a lot of people believe that YouTube is just about luck, because they only look at exceptions. Now, me personally, I tend not to rely on luck, because I have personally experienced that if I had any luck, it was mostly bad. And so I try not to rely on Lady Luck, because she's clearly not a fan. So there is that. So how does having a niche affect the YouTube algorithm? Well, the algorithm follows the audience. So that's a big part of this. And that's why knowing who your audience is and what they like and care about is super important. When a channel lacks consistency in themes or in tone, well, people tend to skip those uploads. If you made certain content and people signed up for that, and then you deviate from the content they signed up for, well, they're not gonna be as invested in that, and they are not gonna be loyal because you didn't really make a commitment to the thing that they came to you for. A good example of this is my good friend John Prosser from Front Page Tech. When he actually was on his way to blowing up in YouTube, something very interesting happened. What I talked to him about was the idea that he was diluting his audience by making a lot of different types of tech shows instead of the thing that they signed up for, which was front page tech. And so he decided he was going to do an experiment and just put out front page tech, the funny news show that people seem to love and sign up for, because that was the thing getting the most views on the channel anyway. And whenever he would deviate, it would dip a little bit. So what they did was stop doing the podcast that they had on that channel. They moved it to its own channel. He stopped doing special one-off videos, and if he did it, he would just make it a front page tech video. And the thing is, the channel blew up very rapidly, and they actually started growing tremendously right after they did that one thing differently. Giving people what they signed up for is one of the most powerful lessons there is in YouTube. When your channel is growing, that is when people are the most active. And so if you give them the thing that produced the growth, more growth will happen. It's very, very simple in that way. It's not easy to do, but it is simple to do. AKA, keep doing what brought them here. Keep doing that. Do more of it. A lot of you ask me, well, how do I build a loyal audience, Roberto? Well, in some ways, you do the opposite of what I do if you want to do that. And what that would come down to is being extremely consistent in terms of the type of content you are packaging for your viewers. And personality does play a role, but you have to remember, when people click on that video initially, they probably don't know who you are, and they probably don't care. So when it comes to the algorithm and niching down, you're able to reach the new people that you want to build an audience around by giving them what they already know and what they already love. And I'll give you a hint, it's not you yet. So, I mean, I know that feels harsh. I know, but it's also the truth. So how do you niche down without losing your voice and without getting bored? Well, I wish someone had told me this one, so I'm gonna tell you the secret. I'm gonna tell you the secret sauce to that one. Okay, here it is. You package the topic, the title, and the thumbnail for what the viewer cares about, knows, loves, and is invested in, and then you deliver on that so that it's not clickbait and so you're not scamming them. You deliver on that, but you also add value with your personality and by making an experience that they enjoy, that they can only get from you, because hanging out with you is a good time. You know, the thing I didn't figure out in high school. So yeah, if it looks like what they want, and then it also makes them feel good, you're gonna win. But you have to lead up front with what the audience wants, what they care about. When I talk about how you put the audience first, it's largely in the packaging of the thing, and then how you get to do what's creative and satisfying to you is in the delivery of the thing. And as long as they agree that that was a good experience, everybody wins. So let's talk about the most profitable niches. The most profitable niches in social media are, in my mind, not gonna shock you too much. I have a more detailed video I can do exclusively about this, but I'm gonna tell you 5 things you need to figure out real quickly to determine if a niche is profitable. How much money does it cost to be in this niche in the first place? How many people are consumers of this niche? How many people buy the things that this niche provides? How many brands are there to advertise this? How many brands are there throwing money into this niche in advertising and marketing and being on social media? How many content creators or influencers are competing in this niche, okay? How many of them? Because that's gonna be important, just not in the way that you're thinking. And then how many ways can I monetize this niche? Because just because something is popular and just because there's a lot of attention around it doesn't mean it offers a lot of diverse opportunities and diverse income streams. You know we love talking about diversifying income streams on this channel. Diversify, diversify, diversify. So those things will tell you if a niche is profitable. If you want to know a few profitable niches, here are some of the obvious ones. Tutorials and education are obvious because they are evergreen and they obviously offer a range of diversity of opportunity. Personal finance, talking about money makes money. Same thing for e-commerce and entrepreneurship. Technology and consumer electronics, One of the largest categories in the world, very good margins, very profitable, and a lot of advertisers and brands to choose from, okay? So you got variety and versatility there. And the same is also true when it comes to lifestyle, beauty, and fashion. Again, the versatility and the sheer amount of brands and also the consumerism around that makes this advantageous. And then, believe it or not, outdoors and sports. Outdoors and sports is actually a lot more powerful than people could ever imagine in terms of a profitable niche. And again, these aren't all of the profitable niches I could talk about. I could probably do a top 10 video around this topic. If you want that, let me know in the comment section. Also, I'm gonna need you to get this video to 2,000 likes before I even make that video. And so finally, here at the end of the video, we are doing the thing that you really came for. How are you gonna compete in a saturated niche? How are you gonna compete when everybody's already done it and there's so many big people for you to have to compete with for attention? Well, the thing is, you're not really competing with them. But I know you don't wanna hear that. I will do the motivational speech for that in its own dedicated video. I'm gonna tell you the steps that you need to take. So first of all, you need to niche down and get focused so that people know what you're about. You can explain it easily and they can explain it easily. This will become important later. Then number 2, you need to step up. You wanna be a contender, you need to act like a contender. How are you gonna step up? How are you going to do something and it clearly and obviously be better that the quality of it is above par, or that the value of it is undeniable, or that the consistency is so compelling that whenever they need something, you're right there, always in their face, inescapable. How do you become inevitable if they are into that thing that you decide to focus on, okay? So let's look back at that one. How do you compete in terms of value? You deliver an amazing experience. How do you compete in terms of quality? You freaking have to go hard. And then the opportunity exists for consistency. Be impossible to avoid while being too good to ignore. I'm not even kidding. All right. So this is how you're going to step up. So you niche down, you step up. All right. And then you have to stand out. And stand out is largely about style. How do you differentiate yourself from everybody else, including the people at the top? One thing is not like the other. One way is if you see everybody doing something, you can offer the counterpoint and the opposite opinion. That's one really easy hack for it. Another thing is, again, visually standing out could matter. That's why I have an emphasis on design and branding, and we talk about it so much on the channel. Is you want to stand out. That's a really easy way to do it. That's an obvious way to do it. Aesthetically stand out. And then another way is just create a better overall experience than anyone else did, and make sure that that's something people can talk about. And guess what? If you decide to niche down, step up, stand out, you can blow up. If you do those 3 things, the 4th thing can follow that. It's not a guarantee, but it creates the right conditions, because the way that you blow up, the secret that no one will tell you, is that people have to be talking about you. Remember how high school worked? People had to be talking about you or nobody knew who you were and nobody cared. You think social media is any different? It's called social. Guys, forget about that. We're focused on the media, you forget about the social, all right? So, word of mouth. People have to be talking about you and you have to give them something to talk about. You know what people talk about? The fact that somebody raised the bar in their niche. Casey Neistat did it. Okay, I'm not telling you to be Casey Neistat. I'm saying if the quality of what you're doing is undeniable, or the consistency and quantity of it makes you unavoidable, and if it's also something that is compelling and is powerful, has tremendous value for people, guess what? Really hard to not talk about it, right? And if it's something that is drastically different than what other people are doing, then guess what? That is going to be the thing that sets you apart. And when you're not just another blank whatever channel, then guess what? You're not competing with those big established channels. You're making a name for yourself. That's the answer. It always has been. And all that is easier to accomplish when you focus. When you focus, man. Like I said, niche down, step it up, stand out, blow up. And there you go. That's how you're gonna niche down, be competitive, and win. Question of the day. What brought you to the channel and what keeps you coming back? Let me know in the comment section. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other awesome stuff on the channel and hit notifications and keep coming back for this face. As always, you guys, thanks so very much for watching, and don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Take care. So you want to start a YouTube channel. Cool. Let's talk about how you can grow on YouTube by focusing on just really 3 things: how to create better content, how to grow an audience, and how to monetize your content properly. If you want to grow on YouTube and be successful, these are probably the 3 things you are the most focused on. And so what I want to do is I want to give you today a common sense approach to YouTube and cover the YouTube basics. So let's talk about how to grow your channel starting at 0, because everybody starts at 0. Let's get into the video. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back to the channel. So for the new people here who have no idea who I am, thanks for clicking on the video. Hi, my name is Roberto Blake. I am a creative entrepreneur and public speaker, and I've been a YouTube content creator for 7 years now, and I've made over 1,000 videos on this platform, and that did help me grow to over 400,000 subscribers and make a significant amount of money here on YouTube. So what I want to do is I want to help you as a new content creator understand how to create better content, how to grow your audience like I did, and also how to monetize it properly, whether you're somebody who's a new creator, whether you have a large audience, whether you're just starting out. I think these 3 things are what you need to focus on, and I think that it is achievable if you have just a little bit of help. Now, if you are launching a brand new YouTube channel or you've just gotten started, I have a free download for you. I have a YouTube Launchpad checklist that gives you step-by-step instructions on how to properly launch and optimize a YouTube channel. It is a free PDF, just sign up your email, and here's the good news. You can print this out and you can use pen and paper like we did in the old days if you just want to check off those boxes. So that's pretty cool. The link is in the description down below. So just grab that free resource. That is my gift to you. And yes, back in my day, we actually used pen and paper and printed things. I'm 35, so in internet speak, it makes me a senior citizen. Old, irrelevant, and hashtag over the hill gang. But in all seriousness, let's talk about how you can grow your YouTube channel starting from 0 and the basics of YouTube. Let's start with creating content, because that's the foundation of all this. Nothing happens without creating content. Now, we can go into fancy camera gear and production and editing and all of that stuff, but the reality is that your content is really about how the audience feels about you. The quality that I'm looking for when people say, oh, make quality content, I'm like, well, what's the experience that the viewer is having? What is making them stay on this content? Because that's what YouTube really cares about. Quality content has 2 faces to it. So there's performance and there's production. Let's talk about performance. The 3 C's of a good performance on YouTube are going to be your confidence and energy on camera, your charisma. And it's also going to be your communication skills and the structure and format and how you present. And then finally, the third and probably the most important one is the connection that you build with the audience. That emotional connection is everything, because that is what drives people to comment, engage, like, share, and also to subscribe to your YouTube channel. So it is impossible to really grow and have a sustainable channel and any type of loyalty, people who will click on your links, who will buy your merchandise, who will do anything if you aren't building that emotional connection. No amount of fancy editing, no amount of cinematography can really save you from people not feeling anything when they watch your content. Now, that's not to say that production values don't matter at all. There's just a such thing as a threshold of acceptable quality, and if you're a beginner, you don't need fancy camera gear. I love mirrorless and DSLR cameras, good microphones, good lighting, and there is a place for that. But as a beginner, you can use a smartphone, and maybe you just get a few accessories to actually help you modify that. I'm going to link to recommended gear for beginners in the description down below. Those are Amazon affiliate links, so they do help the channel. I'm also gonna link, if you are a mobile content creator, to my friend D Nimin. He is another YouTube educator, and he helps mobile content creators with everything from gear and software and the apps that they need to create just using their smartphone or their tablets. So I'm gonna link his channel in the info card and in the description down below. Make sure you're checking him out. Tell him Roberto sent you. One of the key mistakes that stops beginners from being successful on YouTube is they compare themselves to their heroes. You are starting from zero. Let's take this back to, like I said, a common sense approach to YouTube. The thing that you can work on is yourself. And so the best place to start is not to spend a lot of money on fancy camera gear or on video editing software and plugins, and not to sit there editing your content for 8 and 10 and 12 hours a day. The best thing you can do is make content that is valuable to an audience, maybe someone like you, and making that content easy to find or searchable. You know, something that people like you might relate to, and building that emotional connection with people and making them value you. Now, when it comes to production and editing, if you were gonna prioritize anything, if you're gonna put money into anything, instead of putting it into the camera and the lens, I would put it into the audio first, and then maybe buying a ring light second. I'm using an $80 ring light. I've been using this for years, and one of the first smart investments I ever made with my YouTube channel was in the audio and improving that, because believe me, I heard about it in the comments, okay? So when you're first getting started, just try to focus on making the best videos you can with what you have. Use natural lighting, go outside, use a window, use what you have, or if you can, buy that $80 ring light, and that will significantly improve your videos, and then maybe you won't be at the mercy of the sun whenever you want to make content. When it comes to editing, editing should be in the service of your videos. Look, if there's dead air or there's a bad take, obviously you edit it out. If you can enhance the audio, then great. When it comes to editing, be a minimalist. If something adds value to the video, put it in. If something is distracting from the video and the message and the performance, take it out. Just make this minimalist approach to it. You don't have to be super fancy. I know you're watching very polished, very edited content, but there's also things on YouTube that are not over edited that perform just as well and get views. So don't think you have to do that as a beginner, or that your content is trash, because it's not. And the last thing, even if your content wasn't great or over the moon when you're just starting, or even your first year on YouTube, so what? That is okay. I have a video I want you to watch. It's called Make 100 Crappy Videos Like Mr. Beast and PewDiePie. And I'm gonna link to it up here in the info card and in the description down below. And this video is one that I made a while ago, and it's important for a beginner to watch for motivation and to share. And the reason is because I actually put side-by-side comparisons of when Mr. Beast and PewDiePie first started on YouTube, and the quality of their videos when they started and where they are today. And you can see the difference that just putting in the work makes, because they made 100 videos and they weren't great. And guess what? Yeah, they didn't grow that much, but look at where they are today, because they kept going and they kept improving with every video that they made. You know, and I talk about the fact that Mr. Beast made 100 videos. He only got 700 and something subscribers from that. So again, I don't really believe in the pretentious argument of quality over quantity. I believe that consistency is quantity, and I believe that consistency leads to success, because I've never met an artist or an athlete or a musician who improved their craft by doing less of it. You're a content creator, okay? You're a creator, create content, improve, and grow. Let's talk about that audience though. What if I told you there's a simplified version of the YouTube algorithm that you should understand as a small YouTuber? And what if I told you these are the only 3 things that Mr. Beast even focuses on when it comes to his content? So those 3 things are getting people to click on a video, getting people to watch a video as long as possible, hopefully to the end, and then watching more videos. And that's it. If you focus on those 3 things, you will be successful. You will grow on YouTube. But how do we get people to click on our videos? Getting people to click on your videos comes down to a couple of key factors: relevancy and timeliness, and sometimes familiarity. Familiarity is an advantage that larger content creators might have over you, like Mr. Beast and like PewDiePie, but guess what? Small content creators, small YouTubers tap into this all the time by talking about brands and franchises and things that we all are aware of, whether that's, Star Wars or historical figures, or they take advantage of events that are happening, or, new TV shows or video games, things like that. So understand that there is a pathway to timeliness and relevance and familiarity even for a small YouTuber, but you're gonna have to pick your topics carefully. The barrier to views, regardless of how big or small your YouTube channel is usually gonna come down to the topic and whether we're interested in it to begin with. Then it's gonna come down to the timeliness and relevancy of that content to us. And then it's gonna be the title and the thumbnail. And this is what's stopping you from getting a click. And as you know, a click is a view. And so before we ever see the quality of your content or how much of there is with the quantity, we're going to screen your videos out based on what we value and what is relevant to us as an individual. So you should know the audience that you want to attract and pull in. It's not about YouTube pushing you to people, it's about who you can pull in, and it's really down to the fact that YouTube wants to promote, or rather YouTube wants to distribute content based on what we as viewers want. It's going to give me content that it can predict that I'm going to click on. And so your job is to make that as easy as possible. And I think the best thing you can do as a small YouTuber is to focus on search-friendly content when people don't know who you are, and harsh as this might sound, when they don't care. Let's talk about that common sense approach to being a creator that I talked about, that common sense approach to YouTube. What are we more likely to click on? Are we more likely to care about what you ate today? Or would we care more about that if you're telling us that what you eat in a day made you lose 20 pounds in a month? Because see, value-wise, that's important to us. If we're trying to lose weight, then we might care about what it is that you're eating that's helping you either maintain your weight or lose your weight. If you're playing a video game, do I really want to watch you play that video game, or do I want to know how to beat the boss level as quick as possible? You could literally build an entire YouTube channel as a gamer around beat the boss as quick as possible. That could be a show on YouTube, okay? So you have to really take a common sense approach and some humility and realize that people don't know who you are. Can you make content that would give them a reason to care and make your channel a destination for a specific type of viewer? And are you making content for a specific type of viewer? If you're making random content, you can do that. I love creative expression. I love creative freedom. Never complain to me about why you're not growing, because people only have so much time in the day. Random, and don't tell me and cherry pick like 5 creators that you think did random content, because I'll probably be able to tell you why it wasn't random and why there was a strategy. So the reality is you have to have a specific audience in mind, you have to deliver specific value to them, and you also have to fight for their attention because they have unlimited options. With that in mind, pick a topic and try to stick to that topic for at least a little while to build some traction and authority. Focus on search-friendly content. I don't care if you are an entertainer, there's a way to figure out search if you're creative enough. If you're creative, you will find a way. I might make a video about that in the future. If you are doing anything that is in the consumer electronics niche or even consumerism at all, like beauty, fashion, makeup, then it's obvious that you'll want to go with brands that are household names. If you're doing entertainment content around franchises and TV shows and movies and video games, search-friendly content isn't actually that hard to figure out. And so if you want to dominate YouTube SEO, search engine optimization, and you want to crush it in YouTube search and at least build an audience from zero with something, a predictable traffic source, then I'm going to recommend a tool called Tubebuddy. I've been using Tubebuddy for 5 years. I've been an affiliate of theirs for 4 years, and it's, in my opinion, the best SEO plugin for YouTube creators. So I'm going to link to that down below. It's what I use for all of my keyword research, and I'm making a new updated video on how to use keywords, titles, and tags and descriptions in YouTube and rank on the first page, because again, I think that 1, this sets you apart for authority, and 2, it gives you a predictable traffic source. When a trend dies, search is pretty much forever, and I've made a significant amount of money on YouTube by having search-friendly content. There's a video I made like 2 years ago that still makes me $100 a month off of a video from 2 years ago. So just think about that. Like, I know a lot of people want to do suggested and recommended and hack the homepage. Search isn't sexy, but it does work. In terms of those titles and thumbnails, you need to make titles that will entice us as a viewer, but also have some keyword in them that people are likely to search for. That's going to be that predictable traffic. Now, when it comes to the thumbnails, I had the good fortune of having a background in photography and graphic design, so I've been able to make good thumbnails for a majority of my YouTube career, but I'll be real with you, there were videos where I was lazy on the thumbnails and the views reflect that. And so whenever it comes down to getting clicks, your click-through rate in YouTube, super important. It's one of the most important pieces of data that they give us in the YouTube dashboard. And when you see that click-through rate doing well, usually it's a good title and thumbnail. And also good timing. If you upload a video and your audience isn't active, aware, and awake, the views are probably gonna be low. If you are uploading at a time that's been proven where your audience is active, aware, and awake, then guess what? Then the content's probably gonna perform better. Knowing your audience is everything. I know my audience is older. My audience primarily on YouTube is not young people. It is people 24 to 44. It's people who have, a limited amount of time in their day because they don't have all that disposable watch time. That's what entertainment channels really capitalize on. They capitalize on that younger audience, okay? So I make my titles and my thumbnails and I choose my topics based on what that older audience is going to value and care about and what they will likely click on. And even I, with all of my experience, will not get this 100% right 100% of the time. That's okay for you. Don't beat yourself up about this, especially as a beginner. What I would focus on is trying to just make the best thumbnails you can with the software you have. I linked to a free trial of Photoshop for you guys because that's what I use, but also there's a free tool called Photopea. So that's basically a free browser version of Photoshop. It does have ads in it, so that gets annoying. So that's why I like paying for software, because I like convenience and things like that. But you can use whatever you have available to you and you can just make the most of it. Try to make your thumbnails as enticing as possible. I tell people thumbnails have really one job. The one job a thumbnail has, in my opinion, is to get people to stop scrolling in their phone. 80% of YouTube traffic is mobile. So that means people are gonna be scrolling through their phone. Get them to stop. That is the thumbnail's job. Design it in a way that accomplishes that. Get them to read the title and then find that the title is relevant to them, and then you probably get their click. Now after that, you have to have quality content in performance, in the intro, the format, the hook, the pacing, all of that, to get them to keep watching, not have them click away. And then of course you want them to watch the video as long as possible. And that is what is going to prove to YouTube that you have quality content. It's gonna be that retention rate. It's not the views. It is more of the retention rate and watch time, because there's only 24 hours in a day. YouTube is measuring how much of that you get compared to other videos on the same topic. And then that's where it's finding people who will watch your videos and giving them the option. They either click or they don't. It's kind of like Tinder. They either click, which is a swipe right, or they don't, swipe left. So you can think of the YouTube algorithm as Tinder, giving people all these options and they're making a choice. Why would they choose to watch your video? What are you going to do to make someone swipe right? Some final harsh advice before we go into monetization and making money, the thing that I know a lot of you really care about. One of the things that I will tell you often, even as a small YouTuber, is that when you are ready to grow, and you might not be ready right away starting at zero, you may want to experiment, you may want to find yourself, you may want to just put some content out there that feels good to you and get that out of your system. And unfortunately, it's really harsh. There's a real chance that no one will watch those videos. But when you niche down and you make a commitment to something, it is easier for people to subscribe to your channel and come back for more, because there is something convenient, consistent, and reliable there. And so when you make a commitment to an audience and you make videos for a specific type of viewer, they are more likely to make a commitment to you as a creator. So you can't ask for a commitment if you haven't offered a commitment. It's a two-way street. It is a relationship you're trying to build with an audience. You're also trying to attract specific people to you. If you are not filtering and you're saying, I'm making content for everybody and woo, that's not going to work. It doesn't work. Now, you can make your content accessible or interesting to a broader group of people eventually, there's almost no chance that as a beginner that you have the experience and the skills and the reputation to pull that off. And praying to go viral isn't a strategy, homie. It's not. Like I said, it's harsh advice. And whenever I say this, people say, well, what about Mr. Beast? Mr. Beast blew up when he focused on extreme challenges and basically torturing himself. Like, Mr. Beast just does extreme challenges, and then he does money giveaways. Mr. Beast has like 8 specific TV shows. They're kind of like MTV reality TV shows. He has like 8 of them, and they work really well. That is Mr. Beast kind of like niching down into these specific things. You can operate in a niche, and even sometimes you can operate in more than one niche if they're related and they share a very similar audience. You could do like gaming videos, gaming reviews, and you could do gaming hardware, for example, right? But you probably couldn't do that and do fitness on the same YouTube channel. Like, people are going to be very confused, and you're going to dilute your audience, and you're making it harder for YouTube to predict who will watch this content and serve it appropriately. So just kind of keep that in mind. Harsh advice. Let's move on to the money. When you first start a YouTube channel, if you are in this for the money, if you're in this for yourself in that particular way, people are going to see it very early on, and you're going to alienate an audience. So the thing is, if you are hoping that you're going to make a YouTube channel and it's going to change your life and you're going to make all this money and quit your day job, here's the harsh advice for you is there are better, faster ways to make money online without alienating people and without looking like a sellout. And so I've made a ton of videos that can help you make money online. So if you want to do that, I recommend you look at those videos on the channel. I'll link to a playlist if you want to get started with that, because YouTube does not pay very well at the start. It really doesn't. And there are several reasons for that. I can do a whole video about everything you need to, I'm going to do an entire video about everything you need to know about YouTube monetization or everything people get wrong, because you do not come to YouTube and then just start making money overnight. It does not work that way. Anybody telling you that is lying to you. So YouTube is, for most people, the first couple of years, a struggle, and most people lose money on YouTube the first couple of years. The first 3 years I was on this platform, almost nobody knows about this, right? The first 3 years on this platform, I made almost no money from YouTube ads, because the first year I was a small YouTuber. And yeah, I went from, in 2013, in my first 12 months after doing weekly consistent content, because I wasn't uploading in 2009, like whenever my channel started, I wasn't uploading. Nobody does that. So when, at least in that era, that was common, right? So like I was making like $300 a month, and then I went into a deal with an MCN, a multi-channel network, and they take some of your AdSense and they promise to help you. And so I was losing 50% of my money after $300 for like 2 years. And those extra 2 years, by that time I actually got to 100,000 subscribers. So like all the way from like 14,000 subscribers to like 120,000 subscribers, I basically was losing half of whatever money I was making on YouTube. And it wasn't that much. The way that I really made money on YouTube that is accessible even if you are a smaller YouTube channel is with affiliate marketing links, putting links in my description to things that I recommend, whether it was the camera gear that I use for YouTube or any of the software that I was using. That's where I made my money. And the thing is, everybody can start with Amazon, and there are a couple of other platforms you could find that might do affiliate marketing. And so as long as you're doing it in an authentic way and it's something your audience would want, it's okay to do that, and you will earn your first $100 faster from affiliate marketing, in my opinion, than you will with YouTube AdSense. Because to get monetized on YouTube, it's not like back in my day. Like back in my day, everybody could get monetized. Today, you need 1,000 subscribers and you need 4,000 hours of watch time, and then YouTube has to approve you. So even if you make the qualifications, it could be weeks or even months before you're able to monetize your videos. And so instead of being frustrated and tweeting at YouTube every day, the real answer is you can monetize your audience directly with a couple of different options. Something everybody can do, even in the early days of their YouTube channel, is to make merchandise and sell merchandise directly to their audience. Now, the trick in my mind is this, and it's not really a trick, it's more of a tactic. The tactic that I recommend is wear your merchandise in your videos and mention your merchandise in your videos. The other thing is, don't don't make it about you and your logo and your brand at the beginning if you want to sell this, because nobody knows who you are yet. So if that's the case, make something that people would want to buy without knowing who you are, because it's just cool. So that's why I have, like, the hustle hoodie, the creator t-shirt, the creator hoodie. It's like, these are things that people could buy whether they care about who Roberto Blake is or not. You can also do print on demand products. Like, look, if you're like a fitness instructor, you're a motivational coach, you know what you can do? Like, people would actually buy motivational posters from you. Like, so that's another print on demand product. So things like Teespring and Redbubble are really good. You can also sell your own products, and it doesn't have to be a digital online course or any of that stuff that I do. You could be selling stuff in Etsy. You could be selling, music. You could be doing any number of things. And if your audience wants to buy, give them the option. Just make something dope and make it worth their money. There's nothing about that that makes you a sellout. But again, what's faster than that is the affiliate marketing, and that's where I probably make most of my money related to YouTube. It's not even probably, it's not even close, okay? In fact, if you want to check out how I make my money on YouTube, I've actually done a video on how much money I made on YouTube in 2019, so I'm gonna link to that down below. Also, I have released my monthly YouTube income reports over on my blog, robertoblake.com. If you go and you check out the blog, you'll see that I release these monthly YouTube income reports, and I break down how much ads paid me, how much sponsors, how much affiliate revenue, how much in terms of merch sales. So like, that's something that you can check out if you want to see how a successful YouTube channel operates. Now, as all of you probably already know since you're familiar with YouTube, most YouTube content creators, they make a lot of their money from sponsorships and brand deals. If you're just starting out, then there's a couple of issues with this. Number one, a lot of brands don't like to pay directly smaller channels because they haven't really proven that they will get any money back from that. It's about ROI. Advertisers on YouTube and sponsors and brands are not here to give YouTube content creators a paycheck. That is not the reason that they are here. They are here to sell products to an audience, and you're either a good partner and vehicle for that, or you are not. And you need to be honest with yourself and honest with them about that. And number two, you need to consider whether or not you've done the work to build trust and a relationship with your audience, and whether or not they will be okay with this. Now, I don't want anyone to think that they should let their audience bully or shame them out of making money, but I also think you have to understand what your audience will accept from you and what you've done to kind of put yourself in that position. Realistically, I think that in terms of building a loyalty audience, conditioning your audience to buy things from you like merchandise or to use your affiliate links puts you in a great position with brands, because you can prove that you can generate sales and traffic. So that's important. You prove that you have a loyal audience that will support you with their wallet and not just their eyeballs, and that's important. And then this also won't be out of the blue to your audience that there is something being promoted on your channel. So this is something that I don't think a lot of small YouTubers think about, is because they just get excited about the idea of doing a brand deal and finally being legitimate as a content creator. It's like, oh yay, I made it. But the thing is, the audience has to feel like it's a win for them too. And so does the brand. Either if you're just doing it and it's just all about what you get out of it, like, people are gonna see through that, and it's gonna really hurt your career as a content creator on this platform. So slow the brakes and realize that maybe you need to put in a little bit more time, a little bit more reputation before you start deciding, I want to do brand deals now because that's going to make me feel validated, versus really think about, well, what can you reasonably deliver on for a brand, and what's the win for your audience? Are they going to get a discount code? Are they going to get anything out of it? Is there a giveaway for them? What does the audience get out of you doing this? Really think about that and find a way to kind of put the audience first when you're thinking about this. If you want to learn more about YouTube brand deals, I've done a very thorough video on that, and even show you my media kit and my pricing model, and I'll link to that video in the description down below if you want to check that out. Quick recap, we talked about how you can create better content here on YouTube, even as a beginner, and what to focus on. We talked about how you can grow your audience and build that relationship with them, and how you can use an effective content strategy as a beginner to be discovered in search, and why that should be your number one priority, is that search-friendly content as a beginner. We also talked about how you can properly monetize your YouTube channel and gain opportunities to, earn income, invest back into your channel, even if you're a beginner, even if you're a smaller YouTube creator with a small audience that you're trying to grow. There is opportunity here for you. So if anyone made you feel like, oh, it's too late to start a YouTube channel, no, nonsense. It really comes down to how much you want to educate yourself on the basics, whether you can take a common sense approach to this platform, and whether you can use the system to your advantage, and also just how business savvy you're willing to become. If you can focus on those things, I think you'll be successful. You have to create and be consistent. You have to grow an audience by being authentic and by making quality content and enough quantity to fit the needs of the demand. And then you also have to monetize properly and not use YouTube AdSense as a crutch and not sit here and rely on the platform itself for your livelihood. Get your audience to support you with their wallet and not just their eyeballs. Make yourself valuable to brands as a partner, and you will be successful on YouTube. If you want more YouTube help videos, that's not really the main focus of this channel, but I have done about roughly 300 videos that can help you grow a YouTube channel. So if you want to check those out, links are down below, of course, and you can subscribe to the channel. Question of the day: what do you need to focus on the most right now? Is it creating better content? Is it growing your audience? Or is it monetization opportunities and really learning how to make money on YouTube? Let me know what you're focusing on in the comments down below. Oh, by the way, minor plug, if you guys want to check out anything else from me, we do have the Hustle hoodie and we do have the creator t-shirts for sale. They're down in the YouTube merch shelf. Also, we have links and discounts for the Formula for Awesome Videos course and for my YouTube starter kit, which gives you over 100 designed Photoshop templates for YouTube channel artwork, YouTube thumbnails, live streaming graphics. We're also going to be throwing in a template for making a media kit kind of like mine. So if you're interested in that, links for all of those things are down below. You don't have to buy anything from this channel, but it's there because I told you, monetize. Get people to support you with their wallets and their eyeballs. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Share it with other content creators. As always, you guys, thanks so very much for watching. And don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.
All right.
And we're starting right now. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. And today for our YouTube live show, we've got the wonderful Nick Nimmin. But before I introduce him and everything like that, I forgot that I have to say good morning, YouTube.
Nice
little bit that I
good
do.
Good morning, YouTube. Good morning. Is that like a spin on like the Good Morning Vietnam?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Love it.
I knew you'd appreciate that. So how's it
Absolutely.
going today, Nick?
Going great, man. I'm excited to be hanging out today. Excited as always to just be chopping it up with you and the community and talking about YouTube and like we obsess over this stuff. So it's awesome just to have one more opportunity to to hang out and talk shop. So yeah, man, I'm pumped.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited about it. You know that I love when we can chat and I love these streams, but I also love when we can help the community. And speaking of the community, this show is sponsored by our good friends at Tubebuddy who help the community. You can check them out at tubebuddy.com/awesome. Use the discount code Roberto's Buddy for 20% off, or just grab the free version. Links, as always, are in the description down below, along with tons of other awesome resources for all of you. Yeah, love it. So, Nick, like you've been crushing it. You're about to hit 600,000 subscribers. We have a lot of great people here in the chat that want to grow their YouTube channel. We're going to help them. We're even going to take a couple of calls today. Because yeah, that's right. Today's another call-in show, you guys. Small YouTuber Q&A.
Sweet.
By the way, it's not just for small YouTubers. If you're an established YouTuber and there's something that you want to know, then we're happy to help and everything like that. I see Rise the Entrepreneur in here, one of my favorite YouTube channels for entrepreneurship, making money online and making money in the real world. This man literally goes out and does vending machines. We got Doug Hewson here. Nice. We've got we've got so many great people here in the community. But yeah, Nick, you're about to hit 600,000 subscribers. What do you think has been the secret to your YouTube success?
I think that one, just making sure that I'm focused on making content for the people that are needing the content. So I think that one of the big struggles that content creators have is we just want to put out the stuff that we want to put out. But on YouTube, it's important to always consider that that